In this video, I'm going to do an unboxing of the Asus transformer book T100. Now this runs an Atom processor, but it's the new Bay Trail Atom processor. And I'm really anxious to get my hands on it. So let's get to it. Now, before I get into this, I want to go off on a slight tangent. I used to refer to the company that makes this as Asus. Then they came out with a video defining how to pronounce their name, and they went with Asus. Since then, I've heard people from that company refer to it as Asus again. So I'm going to stick with Asus. I know some people refer to it as Asus, so potato potato. Actually, the name of the company comes from the word Pegasus. So technically it would be Asus, but no one calls it that. So enough with that tangent, let's get to the business at hand here, because I'm anxious to get this thing open. Now, in my last video you saw that I did a look back on the Windows Surface RT tablet. And I actually sold that device on eBay, so I no longer have it. So this is my next great hope for a Windows device, or at least a Windows tablet device. The Asus transformer book T100TA-C1-GR, which is the actual name of it, we'll just stick with the T100. Not to be confused with the Terminator T1000. Anyway, this device runs an Intel Atom quad-core processor, which is actually a Bay Trail processor. So those are the newest Atom processors on the market. Now, I've actually owned two Atom-powered devices in the past, and they left a lot to be desired. I had an EPC, and most recently I had a Dell Inspiron Duo. Now, my year has been a very busy year, and I haven't published a lot of my videos. That Dell Inspiron Duo is one of the videos, or series of videos, that I never published, but I will publish it when time permits. In short, that device was a disaster. It was way underpowered. I love the form factor of it, where the screen actually somersaults within the bezel. But after having that device, I swore off Atom processors. But I was lured back by this device because the Bay Trail Atom processors are supposedly so much more usable than their predecessors. This tablet/netbook has 2 gigabytes of DDR3 memory. It has 64 gigabytes of solid-state storage on it. You can get supposedly a 32 gigabyte version, but I haven't seen that available anywhere. It has a 10.1-inch screen, and the kicker is that it has supposedly 11 hours of battery life. So I have high hopes for this device. Now, I got it from Amazon for about $350 shipped. Now, this device goes for $399. Unfortunately, Amazon is sold out, but if you look on the Amazon page, there's a third party selling this device for $439 right now. So somebody's trying to make a little extra money during the shortage here. Now, this device came out on October 18th. Today is October 28th, so I got it about 10 days later. I actually pre-ordered it, but I pre-ordered it late. So the stock was gobbled up by the people who had actually gotten there first, but I was fortunate enough to actually get this device. So anyway, the MSRP on this is $399. Again, I got it for $349 only because I got an Amazon credit card and they actually gave me $50 for just signing up for it. So that's a great deal. So I think I've yammered on enough. Let's open this thing up. Let me grab my trusty cutter here that my cat dropped, and let's get this thing open. Now, normally, Amazon ships to me locally. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. But since there was a shortage on this, they had to FedEx this from California. All right. Let's get this paper out of here. Pull out the box. So this is actually the back of the box. It says Asus Industry's most complete care package. You get 1 year international warranty, 0 bright dot guarantee, so no dead pixels, 2-way free standard shipping, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week technical support. So let's look at the front here. Asus Transformer Book T100. Now, if you're familiar with Asus's Transformer line, you know that it's basically a tablet device that clicks into a keyboard dock. I actually did a full review and unboxing on the Asus ePad Transformer Prime, which was an Android tablet, and it was a great device. But this one is actually a Windows device, obviously, as you can see here. It has Windows 8.1 on it. So let's get this thing open here, and grab my cutter again, break the seal, and let's open this up for the first time. So here we go, the main event here, the Asus Transformer book. Again, Intel quad-core processor, Atom-based Bay Trail. It has an IPS screen, so you have 178-degree viewing angles on this. It has a USB 3.0 port on it. Again, it has that detachable keyboard to it. All-day battery life, supposedly 11 hours, which is really cool. And it ships with Office, Microsoft Office Home and Student 2013. Let's put that to the side and take a look at the dock itself. Now, this is very similar to the ePad Transformer book dock in the way it looks. The only difference is that this device here it doesn't have a battery in it. It's just a keyboard, and then I guess there's a USB port on here as well, on the side here, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's put that to the side, and let's see what else is in the box here. We've got some documentation, and then an Office license product key, which I can't show you, but it's there. Here is a USB cord here, and here is the wall plug here. It's got your Asus branding there. It's where you plug in the USB. Typical wall plug. And I think that's pretty much it. That's everything in the box. So let's start with the keyboard here. Let's get this plastic off of here. I'm going to try and do it the least destructive way I possibly can, because this will find its way on eBay one day. Probably not today or tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe the year after, depends how much I like it. Anyway, the first thing is the feel of it. You have a texture on the front, sort of like a brushed aluminum texture. I believe everything is plastic though. You have HDMI branding over here, you have Intel Inside branding, and of course your Energy Star branding as well. You have your trackpad down here, which is clickable at the bottom. You have your two areas down here, where you have a right and a left mouse click. You have a little bit of a rubber bumper there, so when you close the device, you're not going to have scratching. You also have it on the sides here, two little ones there. And then you have your keyboard here. So let's feel what it feels to type on it. Not so bad. The keys are small in height, and as I can see here, the shift key is pretty small. And generally, I hate small shift keys, but we'll see how that works in practice. When I use, because I do touch type basically, I never look at the keyboard. When I hit the shift key, sometimes I hit the up arrow key, but we'll see how that works out again in practice. Again, like I said, looks like it's an all plastic construction. It is a sort of a gunmetal gray, again with your brushed aluminum texture here. You can actually feel it. Up here is the mechanism where the tablet actually hooks in. You have two guide areas there, and then the actual dock connector there. This button here is to release the tablet. Now again, this keyboard does not have a battery in it. It's just a keyboard and a USB port here, which is your USB 3.0 port here. Other than that, there's nothing on the left, nothing on the front, nothing on the right, and the back, of course, you have your hinge mechanism here. On the bottom of the device, it's sort of a somewhat of a rubberized feel to it. You have your Windows 8 branding there, and then you have your 4 rubberized feet. Very simple. Next up, we have the tablet itself. So let's get this out of the plastic here. Okay, so here's the device itself. Looks really nice. You have your Asus branding up here. You have a 1.2 megapixel webcam here. It's only front facing. There is no rear facing camera on this device. Now this is a 10.1 inch IPS panel, and the resolution is 1366 by 768. Again, it runs Windows 8.1, and it has 2 gigabytes of DDR3 memory. Now this is a full Windows device. This is not a Windows RT device. There's an x86 processor in here, just in case you're not familiar with what an Atom processor is. You get 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and then Asus offers web storage. I don't remember exactly how much that is, but they do offer free storage with the purchase of this device. It supports 802.11 A, G, and N Wi-Fi, and it has Bluetooth 4.0. It has a 31 watt-hour battery, again supposedly up to 11 hours. And this tablet weighs 1.2 pounds. With the dock, it weighs 2.4 pounds. The dimensions are 10.4 inches by 6.7 inches, and the thickness is 0.93 inches. So if I had to, I could palm this device easily. It's a good size. If you watched my previous video on the Windows Surface RT tablet, I did say that working on that device over long periods of time would be cramped. So I'm going to expect the same out of this device. The only difference is I'm going to expect this device to be much more responsive, and it has full Windows on it. And of course that's a plus because you can run all of your legacy apps on it. So let's take a quick tour around this device. As you saw the front of it, very nice. We'll fire it up in a second. On the bottom is basically just your connection area here. So you have your dock connector there, you have your 2 guiding points there, and that's where the base actually locks into the tablet here. On the right side, you see that you have your headphone jack, you have a micro HDMI and micro USB port, you also have a micro SD card slot in there. On the top, there's nothing. Actually, there's a mic up here. Let me take that back. There's a mic there, and then it looks like there's a power button up here with an LED light next to it. On the left of the device, you have what looks like a lock button of some sort, and then your up and down volume rocker. The back of the device is very glossy, and you have your Asus branding here, and I don't know if you can make it out, but it is a very metallic looking back. And if you look close enough, you can see the concentric circles, which has become Asus's trademark on the back of their devices. And then you also have a sticker down here for FCC information. And the back feels like plastic, as you would expect. And then on the back here you have, I don't know if you can see that, but there's one stereo speaker, and here's the other stereo speaker. So it'll be interesting to see how loud this device gets. Now, of course, you can use this device as you wish as a tablet, and then if you want to use the keyboard, the dock, or even use the USB 3.0 port, you just dock it right in here. There we go. Locked in, of course, that button will release it, and then you can close it down, and it looks like a netbook. And that's what it looks like from the side when it's clamshelled with the keyboard dock connected. So let's open this thing up, and interestingly, when you do open the device up, the hinge, which doesn't have any rubberized feet on it, but it does have these little feet areas here, it actually moves the keyboard up a little bit, so it gives it more of a slant. And this, by the way, is as open as the device gets, which should be sufficient. Alright, as you can see, the device did not come with a charge on it, so I'm charging it up right now through the micro USB port. That's a micro USB 2.0 port. Now, just a quick correction before I do fire this up. This is the power button up top, but below the volume rocker is actually a Windows key. It's not a lock key, it's a Windows key. You also have it here on the keyboard. Of course, you always have a Windows key on a Windows desktop or laptop, so that way you can get to your start menu as well. So anyway, we're a little off center here because my cord isn't reaching too far, but let's hope that it has enough of a charge that I can fire this up. So let's see what it looks like for the very first time. There we go.